Hi, everybody. It's me, Miss Essie, the Bougetto Hippie. And today we are talking all about shadow work. But first of all, I'm in a new setting. How cool is that? So I'm in Louis Eric's studio. I hope you all enjoy it because today we are going to get into some dirty, grimy parts of ourselves and talk about shadow work, what it is, how we do it, and why we do it today on the Spiritual Hippie Learning Tribe. So get comfy because we're about to get to work. Mhm. So, shadow work. What is it? Well, before we get into what is it, let's go to what are shadows, right? Shadows are simply splinters of your ego. They're parts of who you are. Everything is a part of you. Your ego, the seat of your personality, your protector, the one that looks out for you will splinter off. It will split off the parts of yourself that it feels are that you have been told are bad, that needs to be diminished, that you're too loud, you're too this, you're not enough that. So it splinters that piece off and tucks it away in the shadow in order to keep you from being told that those parts of yourself are bad. So a lot of people may see those shadows as being negative. Oh, you're too loud, therefore you started being quiet and, kind of diminished your voice a little bit and you tuck that into the corner. But what you don't realize maybe is that you also diminished your voice to speak up for yourself and others in a time of crisis. Maybe you diminished your ability to voice song. So when you do your shadow work and release that and reabsorb that piece back into yourself, who knows? Maybe you'll be able to sing. Maybe you'll be an orator. Maybe you will be a comedian. Maybe you'll just have more confidence because speaking up and speaking out leads to having more confidence. So when you splintered that side of yourself and tucked it away, it may have made you a person who's more shy, right? Because shyness and quietness, we link those hand in hand. So when you diminish the parts of yourself that you think are negative, you're also diminishing those positive aspects of whatever that trait is. So, man, social conditioning is a beep, right? The things we do to ourselves and our children that we don't even realize. These shadows can be quite vicious. And a lot of them are created when you are a child because that's when your social conditioning begins. So your oldest shadows are the ones that were there from the time of your childhood. So those are the ones that have had a chance to fester longer. They're the ones who have had a chance to wreak havoc in your life longer, right? So the further you dig, the further you go back into some of those older shadows, you really start to see monumental changes in your life because those old shadows have underpinned so many negative emotions, thoughts, and actions that once you clear them up, things start to change. So that's what a shadow is, the splinter of your ego. Why you create the shadow, it's created to protect yourself, to keep yourself from being bullied. So you suppress your sexuality. If you suppress your sexuality, you won't be bullied anymore. If you suppress your sexuality, your family will love you. If you suppress your sexuality, you don't have to explain to people why you're like that. So suppress it. And it creates a shadow. And then that shadow, how it reacts, how it comes out, how it shows itself, don't know. That's the scary part. Like these shadows that we're creating can pop up at any time, any moment, and do anything. And we just find ourselves acting out of character. You've heard that before? Well, they're acting out of character. That's a shadow. I don't know why I responded that way. No, you don't, because it wasn't you. It was a shadow. It was a splinter of your ego. It was a part of yourself that has been denied and pushed down and pushed back for so long, that it's making itself seen. So a shadow is going to come up. The Bible says that everything done in dark will come to light. Know that. So if these shadows are going to come up, if these shadows that are in the dark are going to eventually come to light, and you have a way to control how they bubble up and how they come to light, then it's best that you control that. So how do you control your shadows? Well, first you have to recognize what the shadows are and recognize when your shadows are showing themselves. Um, Again, whenever you're acting out of character, whenever you're not being yourself, whenever someone triggers you and you spaz out on them, you're like, oh my God, why am I acting this way? It's your shadow. So when those things happen, ask yourself, why was that my reaction to this situation? Why did that annoy me? Why did that trigger me? Why did that make me angry? Because I felt disrespected. Well, why did that make me feel disrespected? Well, because, well, why would I feel that way? And just keep going, keep digging, and keep going until you hit a block. When you hit that block, you found your shadow, right? It's like a boop, you bump right into that dark wall. That is a shadow. Confront it. You have to face it, not in an angry way. You're confronting it with love. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be upset about this thing. Listen to that inner child. Listen to that shadow and hear what it tells you. Maybe it just needs to be loved. Maybe it just wants to be held and hugged. Maybe it just wants to be listened to. Maybe it was developed when you were a child in order to protect you, right? So now as an adult, you're just very aggressive and very combative. But you realize that that shadow comes from the pain of a childhood trauma. Go inside, go back to that child and let that child know that they no longer have to react out of anger, because you're an adult now and you're in control and you love that child. You love that child for everything it kept you from, everything it protected you from, everything it did for you. But it's time for you to rest now, child, because I am an adult and I have this. We have this because you have my back and I have control. So I am going to love you and reabsorb you back into a part of me, because you are a part of me. That is where you started and that is where you must return. And you just keep loving it. Sometimes it takes a couple times. Seriously, shadow work is not a one-time thing, y'all. Especially shadows that have been in existence for years and years, decades, right? So it may take some time. Now, what about those shadows that we don't even know where they came from, because they're generational? They're generational curses. Grandmama was this way. Mama was this way. Now I'm this way. It's just the way it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. Great granddaddy couldn't keep a woman. Granddaddy couldn't keep a woman. Daddy can't keep a woman. I guess I'm not supposed to keep one either. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Those are generational curses. And all a generational curse is a shadow attached to your lineage that just keeps on going. That just keeps on going because it's constantly reinforced. by each and every generation. You can be that curse breaker. You can be that chain breaker by facing that shadow. You don't have to be that person. You don't have to continue that chain. You can stop that immediately by doing your shadow work, by asking yourself, excuse me, by asking yourself, why am I an alcoholic? What am I trying to numb? Oh, I just drink to have fun. It's not fun to be hovering over a toilet. It's not fun to feel like crap the next day. There's a difference between social drinking and getting drunk. It's a difference between being drunk on a weekend when you're having girls' weekend or when you're having a bachelor party and being constantly drunk. Understand, this isn't judgment. This is, we both know that alcohol is bad for you physically and mentally. So why do you keep doing it? It doesn't feel good. So what are you numbing? Why numb it when you can face it, deal with it, and get it out of the way? Because it's painful. Because doing real shadow work sucks. That's why it is easier to numb or to avoid and forget than it is to do the work. That's why we all not floating around on a cloud. Everybody ain't Buddha. Why? Because the work sucks. It's hard. It's grimy. It makes you cry and it makes you feel. And when you want to numb yourself, well, you numb yourself because you don't want to feel. So to tell someone who is numbing themselves to stop numbing themselves so they can feel, well, it's counterintuitive, but that's part of doing the work. So again, this is not a place of judgment. If you want to have a cup of wine or two before you go into meditation, because that's what helps to calm you and get you to that place, who am I to judge you? Do you smoke weed? That's what you do. That's what you do. I'm not judging anyone. What I'm saying is you must be radically honest with yourself about why. What is the intent behind the thing that you're doing? Why are you beating your spouse? Why are you harming children? Why are you chronically late? Why do you not drink enough water every day? You know you cannot sustain yourself on coffee and Kool-Aid. So what is it that's stopping you from doing what you need to do or what you know you should be doing to improve your health? That's also a shadow. Why you keep popping off on that person at work? Because they annoy me and they no, they don't annoy you. You allow yourself to be annoyed by something they did, but that's on you. They can't change your behavior, only you can. So why were you annoyed by their action? What is that shadow? Sit with yourself and ask yourself, why? And see what bubbles up, see what comes up, and work on that shadow. Love it, hug it, listen to it, pray for it, pray with it, pray over it. I had a shadow one time. Literally, it was like, I'd lie to you not. It came out of the corner looking like a dirty golem. And I was just like, okay, all right, this is what I'm gonna have to work with. I was in meditation, it was and it was just crazy looking. And I reached up because it's you, it's in your head. So you're cleaning your shadows. You can literally manifest whatever you need to in order to do that. So I manifested a shower, and I pulled the little shower head down, and it sprayed this wonderful golden, beautiful light over that shadow. And I cleaned it. Literally, I was cleaning my shadow. I was cleaning my shadow, and I was loving her. And when I came out of that meditation, and I was like, I wonder why it came through in that way. It's like the act of cleaning someone else, the act of loving them so much that you would detangle and demat their hair and get the dirt out and clean under the fingernails. And I mean, think how long it really takes to clean something that just came out of a pit of mud. It may not happen in the first time. You may have to go back and clean it over and over and over again. And if that shadow decides to jump back in that pit of mud because you haven't done the work, well, then you just keep cleaning and you start over. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why this is a lifelong journey. And even after you clean some shadows, there's another level of shadows. It's always work, but it gets easier. It gets easier to do the work. It doesn't mean that doing the work or being on the path is easier, but actually recognizing them gets easier. Being able to do the work, to hear them, to clear them gets a little bit easier, but it can still be tough, and it's still difficult, and it's still dark, and it's still grimy, but it's the most important work that you will ever do and that you need to do, because your life is going to get so much better. Yes, yes, yes to the healing, honey. Claim it. Claim it. Yes to the healing. Since I have really started doing shadow work, oh my gosh, my life has amazing. It is a lot still needs to be done. My finances aren't where they want to be, well, where I want them to be. There's still a lot of things that need to happen. But when you start doing your shadow work, you don't focus on those things because you realize how much you actually have. And that as long as you're able to get up and watch a program on YouTube, that means you got some electricity somewhere. There's a computer or a phone somewhere. You got life. You're not running around naked with your computer or phone. I'm assuming that there's at least one set of clothing on you. I mean, already I don't know you, and I've named like 5 things that you can be thankful for. So if you do not recognize those 5 things, then that's a shadow. Why can I not recognize the blessings that I have? And by you not recognizing them, you're stopping the other blessings from coming in. Why should God give you more blessings if you can't acknowledge the ones you already have? And you can't acknowledge the ones you already have because there's a shadow there. Well, why is that shadow stopping you from acknowledging those blessings? Do you have a fear of success? The more blessings you get, the more people who are going to come out of the woodwork and start asking you for a piece of your blessings. And you don't want to deal with a bunch of new cousins. What is it that's stopping you from receiving the blessing? You don't think that you will properly be able to handle the blessing? All of these things are just versions of shadows. They're just parts of you that you need to work with and deal with, because somewhere in your social conditioning, in your training, in your upbringing, you have stored those things away as being bad things. Okay, well, if you are blessed and you start having people coming out of the woodwork asking you for your blessing, instead of saying, oh my gosh, that would be such a hassle, internalize that as, yeah, because that's how much I have. That people are able to see me as a resource to help them. Now, because I don't want y'all to drive me crazy, I'm gonna go ahead and take $1 million and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in this family and friend account. Don't call me. Call the account manager. Ain't got nothing to do with me no more. That's how you handle that. You don't block the blessing. You're like, give me mine. Come on. It's mine. Bring it on in. But because I know I have the type of family and friends who are going to need things, then I'm going to take a portion and I'm going to set it aside just for them. Don't block yourself. I'm afraid of success. Why? Because I always see rich people on TV who always look miserable. Well, that's because they thought that their happiness would be in the wealth. Happiness is not in wealth. It's not in things. So if you have a fear of success and you start asking those questions and you drill down and you realize that that fear has to do with you think that more money, more problems. No, because you're going to be blessed with so much resource, so much money, so many new people who mean nothing but good for you, that you're going to have the proper accountant, the proper attorneys, because different attorneys specialize in different areas, and you're going to need your real estate attorney and your estate attorney, right? So you're going to have all those things taken care of. You're not going to have more problems because you're going to have the right people put in the right places. Again, get out of your own way. There is no block. You do not have to block yourself. If you are blocking yourself, that is a shadow. Work on that. Work on that. Are you a good steward of those resources? If not, why not? Don't ask for resources if you're going to blow it. I'm going to do better with my money this time. Ow, what have you done differently? What have you learned? Okay, so instead of asking for more money and more resources, ask for the ability to be a better steward of the money and resources that you already have. And that when you show that you are a good steward, then more will come to you. Because you don't want to keep messing up what you're being given, may stop being given. So do your work. I know I've given y'all a lot of examples and I threw a whole bunch of stuff at you, but I really, really, really want you to help gain clarity on some of the ways that you can recognize your shadows, recognize those triggers, and the work that you can do. Scripting and journaling are also wonderful ways to do shadow work, to write it down, because the act of writing, the act of letting those emotions come through you and then through the pen onto paper, it really helps for things to come out. And so just keep writing and keep writing and keep writing. And the more things bubble up and the more things come out, keep writing them down and you'll eventually get to that shadow. You can use, now that's journaling. Scripting is when you write as if you have the thing you already want. So in your journal, you write down your prompts. Well, why am I feeling this way? Why did I allow this to trigger me? And you just keep writing and keep writing. And then you see what all bubbles up, right? So now that you have your emotions all high around whatever the issue is that you're working on, you go to your other notebook, which is for scripting, and write as if that shadow has been cleared. What is your life going to look like once you remove the fear of success? What is your life going to be once you get in so much money that you can take $1 million and put it aside into a family and friends account? What is your life going to consist of? What are the events? Who are the people? What is it that is going to be in your world when your life looks like this? It's already happening. Oh my gosh. Just got a call from my financial manager. I just made enough to not only fund my own business for a full year, including all salaries, but to put $1 million in the family friend account, to take my family on a all expense paid vacation, to give my church a proper 10%, 20%, or to give it to the homeless shelter, because you can do God's work by giving to a nonprofit organization. We have a nonprofit organization. I'm just saying, you can do God's work in many different ways. So make sure that you claim that you have enough for him as well. And for the least amongst us, that's how you supercharge. Excuse me. That's how you really supercharge it. You make sure that you put in your script not only all of the wonderful things you're going to do for yourself, not only all of the wonderful things that you're going to be able to do for family and friends, but all of the wonderful things that you're going to be able to do for people that you do not know, for the community, especially in a time of a pandemic. What are we going to do for our neighbor? Put that in the script. Sign it, date it, close it. Done. It's part of your shadow work if you want to use journaling and scripting. So that's another technique you can use. Oh my gosh, I'm doing so much talking. I don't even know what this video is. Where are we? Oh my gosh, we're almost at 30 minutes. Okay, I'm going to stop because I can talk about shadow work. I can keep talking about shadow work. So please go to the Spiritual Hippie Learning Tribe on Facebook. It's where we will be discussing this in detail. It's where you can see all of our discussions and more of our videos. Also, if this was informative, please click like. Is it like? The thumbs up. Click thumbs up and notification. So you will know when we come out with more videos. And thank you once again for joining me, Miss Essie the Bougetto Hippie, here on the Spiritual Hippie Learning Tribe, where we really do try to be all about love, light, learning, and laughter, and everything that is going to help educate and elevate not only ourselves, but our community at large. So thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you on Facebook. And until next time, be well.